Calling all units, calling all units. Donut Shop has a fresh dozen. Go ahead and take a 1040.
What's up, everybody? I need to get my camera fixed. So get my camera. Let me fix this. I'll be right back on that. Open that. There's no reason why that should be. There we go. Got that straightened out. Running a little late today. Forgot to change my alarm from 8:30 to any earlier than 8:30. So woke up at 8 o'clock, and I was like, "Oh, I got to get the dogs out and get coffee made and get ready for the show." But yeah, it didn't even do a teaser on Instagram. But I did say last night on Instagram that I want to talk about upcoming shows this week coming out. The Philadelphia event next Saturday, and then I wanted to talk about fraud a little bit because I get destroyed at work with fraud cases. It's kind of ridiculous. So felt like I wanted to talk about fraud. Yeah, what's up? Good morning. It is a nice 72. I was just telling my wife when I took the dogs out that there's a nice little bit of a breeze for Florida, a little less humidity. So it's nice going on outside. It was supposed to be all weekend, but I think today's really the first day that we're getting hit with it. I mean, 72 degrees. Come on. So what's up, everybody? I hope having a good morning. But I wanted to talk about, so this week, actually today, I'm going to lunch with retired detective Rick Sessions. He worked for Lauderhill and Broward Sheriff's Office. He was a homicide detective, and then taught a lot of classes at the police academy. And then I'm also going to, and then his teaching partner, Zach Scott, who's currently still employed as a law enforcement officer. He is also a detective. And we're going to lunch today, so that's pretty cool. So I'll talk to them some more. I did a podcast with them last week, and it is coming out this Tuesday. It's pretty interesting. Talked about a couple cases. Talked about law enforcement in general, kind of where they came from. The things that my podcast does. So that I'm dropping that. Got some spicy reels coming out on Instagram for it. They should be pretty good, or they should do well. So I got that one, and then I recorded an episode this Friday. I just recorded an episode with a woman from NBC. She worked for NBC6. She's now since retired, or she's moved on from NBC6, but she had been there for 25 years. And I dealt with her a lot when I was a public information officer. So it was good to catch up, talk to her. She's married to a law enforcement officer. So there's kind of an interesting paradigm that sort of goes on between, someone digging for news and someone married, or, someone that is law enforcement. So that one's a pretty fun episode. We recorded that one in person, so that was cool. So plenty of good episodes coming up. You can always find them donutshoppodcast.com, where I have the links to the audio channels. If you're listening to audio channels, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, however you get your podcasts, you can listen to the audio there, or you can watch the YouTube to get the video. So it's all there, housed through donutshoppodcast.com. Also, let's now go to, let's see if this ever uploaded. Did it upload? No, it did not upload. All right, I'm gonna keep chatting and trying to find how to upload this. So no, it's not there. How did I used to upload pictures? Well, I have a picture of the flyer that, let's just do this. Let's make it a logo. Put this here. Let's see if I can drop this. No, that's not it. That's not the way to do it. All right. Sorry. Super unprofessional. I don't know. I don't know where it went. So it's supposed to be in assets. But next weekend we have the we have a live event in Philadelphia. The event was already created. It's not something that we're running. We're kind of going to be the talent, or some of the talent, some of the guests. It's in Philadelphia, kind of northeast of the city, and it's at I believe like a benevolent lodge or a hall. It's $50 to get in, but it's a pasta dinner and charity event. So myself, so Donut Shop Podcast, Anti-Hero Broadcast, Unfiltered and Unfazed podcast. Copville is going to be there, and then Nick from Good Cop Bad Cop is also going to be there. So you're going to have all of us there, members of Counterculture Inc. We'll be doing, I think, like a live podcast there, and then kind of hanging out, having some drinks, talking to everybody, doing our thing. So I'm flying in Saturday morning, and I'm going to hit the Reading Street Market to get some cookies in Philadelphia, and then just kind of walk around, do some quick sightseeing. I've been to Philadelphia with Lupe, but we're going to do some quick sightseeing, or I'm going to do some quick sightseeing on my own before heading to the hotel to change and then get up to the event. So kind of exciting. And then I'm going to leave the next day, promptly the next day on Sunday. So it's just like a quick up, in and out, gone. And will I have a Philly cheesesteak? I don't know. I'll see, maybe. So that's why I'm gonna have my backpack on, and I'm gonna jump on the train, take it to downtown from the airport, and hit it from there. We did a bunch when we went to Philadelphia the first time, but I don't think we actually had Philly cheesesteaks. So we'll see. I'll take pictures of the Donut Shop Podcast patch on a Philly cheesesteak or something like that. So cheers, Jerry. Good morning. Also, good morning to Liz if she's around. But yeah, so excited about the Philly event. I would try to let me just do one more little look and see how I can try and put this flyer up. You guys are going to sit here and look at me trying to be a dummy. Let's see if I don't think I can load it this way, but I'll double check. Hey, look, this might work. That file must be, nope, it's got to be a MP4. Yeah, so there's a way. I've done it before. I've put it up, but I don't freaking know. Oh, here we go. Image file. Done. Gotcha. There it is. Hello. Look at that. I'm even small. So there's your Philly event for anybody watching this on replay. Since I've already pretty much read the flyer, October 18th, 6 p.m., 21 and up. Sorry, kids. $50 donation. Also, I know Chris that I interviewed from with Canine Tambo. I don't know if Canine Tambo will be there, but Chris is going to be there. He sent me a screenshot of his ticket. He just bought his ticket, so it'd be cool to meet him in person since I did a over the air, or an internet interview with him. So he's going to slide out. He's not that far. Everything up there in the Northeast is pretty close to each other, I guess. So he's sliding over, and he's going to be there. So it'll be cool to have him there. Say what's up. Take some pics, of course, for the gram. So yeah, that's our flyer. That's not the flyer for the event. That's our flyer that Tyler had made up. Whoa, put that back. Where's my background? Whoa, we're gonna screw around here. I'm a dummy. There we are. I'm gonna change this a little bit. I think I can do this. under. All right. I'm gonna stop screwing around. We're doing a show here. This is a show. All right. What else? See, I talked about the upcoming shows. A little quick cue in. I'm working on something. Tyler and Mike, because they're so busy with all their shows that they've got going on. We haven't been doing the show for Counterculture on Friday nights called Hot Mike. I'm gonna argue for Hot Mike. I felt like it was a cool thing to have, a good way for counterculture shows to sort of get together and shoot the breeze. But obviously, with Mike and Tyler producing shows all week long, I'm going to jump on and kind of take over that show, producing it. So you're going to have me most of the time producing it. But what I'm going to try to do is wrangle as many counterculture counterculture podcasters to get on, not at the same time, but sort of go through and pick it. My pitch to them was to do it sort of like a like detail picks, like, hey, here's all the dates for the next coming month. Look in your schedule, guys. Are you available? All right, you're gonna jump on. Like, let's get on there. Let's talk trash. Let's talk about your shows coming up. Let's talk about something going on. If it's like a, I don't want to say hot topic because that's Mike's show, but if there's a video to watch or something like that you want to bring on, let's kind of, it's an open mic. Let's talk about what we want to talk about and do kind of just like what I'm doing here on Sundays, which is about me or Donut Shop Podcast, but this one about the network and what these guys are bringing out, and then people can come on just like you guys are doing here in the chat and ask some questions, do whatever. So that's what open mic's going to be going forward. So we'll relaunch it hopefully with the same intro music, because that intro music is fun. So yeah, that's open mic. Probably going to be Fridays, but I might bump it up to 8 o'clock Eastern, because 9 o'clock Eastern is just damn near ridiculous. So I'm going to bump it up probably to 8 o'clock Eastern, just to make it a little more reasonable for those of us on the East Coast. All right. I haven't even had breakfast yet. Definitely no donuts, but haven't had breakfast yet. All right. So for this little last segment, I want to get into, I'll tell you, I've told people with this, because I was off the road for 15 years, almost, no, 10 years, 12 years, something like that. I was off the road for like 12 years. So I wasn't dealing with the day-to-days of law enforcement. And obviously the job changed for me from my first 5 years on the road, setting up perimeters, chasing bad guys, chain snatching, fights, running, jumping fences. Nobody's doing that anymore, or they're not doing it as much. So at least in my city, the criminals are not out there doing that. So the cops aren't having to do that. But what are they doing? They're doing freaking fraud, man. Like the fraud is insane. I feel bad for our fraud detectives, because it's usually an under, think of the word. It's an asset that, we don't look at as far as an agency as much. You usually have one guy, at least I'm talking for my city. You have one guy, maybe a second guy or girl, but they're usually half in, half out. You don't have like a team, like maybe you have like a homicide team, because those are always the higher profile. Those are the bigger deals. And so, but with fraud, there's so much nuance. There's just as much working with other agencies, other organizations to solve these crimes as you have with homicides, human trafficking, drugs, all that stuff. So, that is something, that I definitely feel for those detectives when they're having to do this work. And these fraudsters, like, all they do is care about getting their money. And they're usually pretty good at it. So I made an arrest. I'm not really going to get into it because it's, there's a lot to it. On Tuesday, and the biggest part is we had the opportunity that these people were in the bank, the actual fraudsters, they were in the bank. So they were, or yeah, at least part of the line of the fraudsters, because it's not just one guy sitting in a basement um, getting it done, or in Florida on a back porch getting it done. They are there's a nucleus, then there's a middle manager, then there's different levels of ground troops. Like, it's a whole army of people to just commit like one fraud. And they're not just committing one fraud, they're committing hundreds of frauds or putting out hundreds of phishing lines, and they're just waiting for those fish to grab onto it. And when I say phishing lines, what do you think are the phishing lines? The phishing lines are those text messages that we're all getting. We're all getting. If you're not getting them, I need to find your secret. You're probably just not out there doing anything on your phone or giving up your phone number to anything, because I get probably 5 to 6 text messages a day that say, work from home, earn $60 an hour, work 20 hours a week. They're using all the buzz phrases that all these people, all of us, since the pandemic are looking to do. Nobody wants to go into an office and get sick. Nobody wants to go into an office because you've got to get out of your PJs. Nobody wants to go, all these things. I could label all these excuses. So Jerry says, the internet has opened up the possibility of scamming people more and more. Yeah, correct. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're not out there on the internet, going to stores, giving out your phone number to a rewards program, because when you go to TJ Maxx, you type in your phone number and now your rewards program. But then TJ Maxx has limited security on your phone number, gives it away, and now some of your stuff's, out there. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. But nobody wants to go into a regular place. Plus, businesses are more and more letting people be home, because to own brick and mortars, to own an office building, corporate real estate, they're paying for this stuff. So everybody's tightening their belts or whatever. So they may be losing internal offices, but they're like, all right, look, people can do this from their home office and they can accomplish very similar work. So you've got a lot of people that are looking for that kind of stuff, and some businesses that are actually giving it out. So it actually exists. It's not uncommon. But people are getting these text messages and they're clicking on links and now opening up their phones to fraudsters, or they're talking to them on the phone and giving up all this personal information. It's crazy. So I made that arrest on Tuesday, and then Wednesday, I get a call from a woman who's like, oh yeah, I did some work for a company. They deposited $500 and now they're threatening me. And so she was really calling about the threats. She was almost glossing over or ignoring the fact that she had been involved in a fraud scheme. Although probably was a somewhat victim, she wasn't at a loss for any kind of finances, but she ended up being an agent of them, because when I said, what kind of work did you do for them? She said, oh, I sent out emails. I'm like, okay, so now I'm curious, what were the contents of the email? What were you instructed to do? And what did you communicate? And she was like, oh, I was asking these clients of theirs to send gift cards. And I was like, boom. Okay. Now you are also an arm of the fraud chain, because you're like, what businesses do ask people to send gift cards? Like, how I can't pay my AT&T cell phone bill with a gift card. So so she now in turn became a suspect in a fraud, basically. She's the one communicating that. She didn't have intent, she didn't know what she was doing, but she still was involved in it. And so those fraudsters were getting her to do those things. So and I explained to her, like, look, if your bank says that $500 that was deposited was processing, it was probably done by someone unknowingly, like depositing a bad check or something like that. So I go, that isn't probably going to clear your bank, and they want you to send them the money back because they want you to dig into your own personal finances to send the 500 back to them while the other is processing. Then the bank's going to reject it, and then now you're going to be less $500, and the fraudsters are skating off in whatever country they are in with your $500. And so it's crazy. And then we saw yesterday on I think it was on Good Morning America or whatever, they were talking about 80 something year old woman that went to, that was talked to by a fraudster for hours or even weeks, and they convinced her to go to a gas station and put her money into this Bitcoin ATM. And these Bitcoin ATMs are transferring money to um to the fraudsters basically. And so she was at a point where she had entered almost $25,000 in funds into that Bitcoin ATM. And so a bystander, so like those of us watching this video, saw it, felt uncomfortable, probably looked at it and went, an 80-year-old woman at a Bitcoin ATM, that just doesn't seem right. And so they stopped it, or she stopped it. She called the cops. The woman was on the phone with the fraudster, and and the cop on his body cam grabs the phone, and he's talking to the guy, and the guy's like, "Sir, this is very serious. This is security." Da, da, da. And he's like, "No, you're not. And so I'll tell you a story about that. But they, so, you know, this woman, took it upon herself to, kind of interject, and she, hopefully, I don't know, they didn't totally clear that part up, but it seemed all happy flowers and sunshine. So it seemed like they protected her $25,000. So hopefully that happens. So Jerry said, yeah, oh, weird, I already showed this one. um Miami's the capital of Medicare fraud. Yes, that is true too. I thankfully don't have a lot of knowledge of that, but uh, I know with my wife working in the medical field that there's a lot of opportunity for fraud. She doesn't do it, but she sees how some of these companies and some of these people do that. So yeah, Juliet grew up with a telephone landline and an unlisted number, and own a pet T-Rex. Yeah, so that's to that point. I explained to one of our sergeants that just came back to the road how many 911 hang up calls we get now, and I said, look, man, things are different. Like, an iPhone falls off of a coffee table, it dials 911 because it felt the jolt of a crash. So I go, we get a lot of 911 calls, dude. Like, and I go, it's not the days where someone's having an emergency, has to get up, grab the phone off the wall, and dial 911. Like, that's an overt dial of 911. Now, like, we get the dispatches like, there's a 911 open line, sounds of a lawnmower or a weed whacker in the background, and it's because the lawn guy was on the weed or the lawnmower riding it, and was looking at something, and then puts his phone away, but the phone screen was open, and then it dialed 911. So it's like, we can't go to all these 911 calls. We call these people, they're like, oh man, I'm sorry, it was a pocket dial. And as long as we feel sincerity in their mind or in their voice and stuff like that, they're not being held hostage. um we're on our way. They're just like, please, please, please. So sometimes we cancel the call that way. um what do we got? Liz and I would get the IRS phone call threatening to arrest us. Yeah, so there's all those phone calls. Hey, I'm the police chief. You have a warrant. You need to send me $500 to clear up this warrant. There's no way in the world that you clear up a warrant with $500 without seeing somebody. A warrant means someone wants to see you. So it doesn't mean someone wants your money. It's fraud if they want your money. So there's hundreds of things that these fraudsters do. And one of the roles, Juliet knows this, one of the roles that I used to do in my old position at work was go around to meetings and sort of make people aware of some of this stuff. So I don't do that anymore, but I can do that through this and use this platform to kind of put some of this information out there to anybody that listens and wants to hear it and is still sitting here at minute 24 of me rambling. um you know sorry, I'll flip back. There was one story that I was going to bring up. So I got a call one day, a dispatch call, and they said that the woman called, said her husband was on the phone with fraudsters and they were demanding whatever it is. So I was kind of like, oh my god, like, all right. And so I called the lady on the phone. She's like, my husband's on the phone with them. She's like, and I go, tell him to hang up, take the phone from him. And while I'm saying that on the phone to her, I looked at the address and I go, dude, it is literally across the street from me. So I crossed the street in my car, pulled up to the house. I told her on the phone when I was on my way, I go, I'm on my way, walk out front with him, bring him out front. And so he's still on the phone with him when they walk out front. And I pull up and I go, and I'm, politely, give me your phone, dude. And so I put it on speaker and I was like, who is this? Or I was like, hey, what's up, fraudster? And this guy's like, excuse me. And he's in a foreign accent, West Asia, if you know what I mean. I'm not gonna pinpoint anybody in India, but I did. So he's like, "What? Who is this?" And I was like, "This is the police." He's like, "No, I am the police." I was like, "No, dude, I'm the real police." And I kind of I had an argument with him, and it was fun and exciting because nothing was gonna happen to these people. And he's like, "Get serious, do this." And so I argued with him on the phone, and it was so funny. And he eventually just hung up on me because he figured out that was it. But back to, and these people, they were up there in age, and obviously the husband was not trying to, I think they were Jamaican. I think the husband was not trying to get in any kind of trouble. So these fraudsters, they play on all kinds of stuff, one of them being elderly people. And in my city, we have a large population of elderly in a community. And like, let's be honest, some elderly folks are lonely. They are looking for people to talk to, or are open to talk to people. So they're going to listen when somebody is talking to them on the phone, and someone is, these fraudsters are almost gypsy-esque, where they just kind of get you under a spell, and they get you listening, and they're talking to you, and they're telling you all these things. And it's, and then they don't want something to happen. They've worked all their lives for these retirements or these banking savings accounts that they have, and they don't want something to happen that is, puts that at risk. So they feel that if this person that now has gained their trust is telling them the truth and is going to help them protect it, they're going to give it up, or they're going to go along with it, and they don't really realize what's happening. Or they don't really realize that they're improper. I've had several cases where I've dealt with the victims either on both ends. I had a woman who the quote bank had called her and told her that there was something wrong with her banking, that she needed to mail, or that she needed to send her money via mail to this address. And it happened to be in the city I worked in, from Idaho. She was in freaking Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and she put $70,000 into a gift bag. They told her to go to Walgreens, get a birthday gift bag, and put the money in there. And so she put the money in there, and she put it in a U.S. Postal Service package, and had to do overnight. So she spent $100 and something to mail it overnight. So she mailed it. She felt slightly remorseful after it left her possession, and after it left that. So she called the police locally in Coeur d'Alene, told them. They tried to get to the Postal Service and put a stop on it. But it's overnight, so that stuff is moving, and from Coeur d'Alene to South Florida. And so they put a flag on it, and then so then they referred her to me, or some other agency, and said to call them and see if they can catch it before it lands, kind of thing. And so I ran around. Mail hadn't been delivered yet. I found the address's local store, Postal Service store. Went over there, got with the manager, and the manager put me on the line with the hub out of Oakland Park that gets overnight stuff for the Broward County area. And I talked to this guy that was there, and he's like, that package is sitting on my desk. I intercepted it. And I'm like, hell yeah. So I was excited that this lady's the mail had been intercepted. I didn't really do anything except for get the gossip for her. And work a little faster than the Postal Service as far as communication. But, so what the Postal Service ended up doing is they reach out to her with victims advocates and information, and kind of help her get her money back. They slap it in an overnight package back to her, so she's going to get it back. and she got her money back. But then I had another guy do the exact same thing from Texas, and I think it also got intercepted by the Postal Service. But it's crazy um, to think of. Um, so it's what do we got here? Julia gut dialed 911 while shopping at Home Depot. Oh, butt dialed, not butt dialed. I was oh shoot. So you butt dialed and then you were apologetic dispatch, and it was an embarrassing senior moment. Hey, it happens, but that's what I'm saying. And I'll tell you what, dispatch doesn't care. It's the police officers that are running around the city handling that. But usually we call people on the way to it, and we say, hey, and if you're like that, and you're like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Yeah, it was a butt dial or a gut dial or whatever. We accept your apology and move on for the day. But yeah, so my plea to anybody watching still and anybody watching on replay, um, for one, keep an eye if you still got them. I don't have them anymore. I don't have grandparents anymore with me. But if you still got them, talk to them. If you are a grandparent, talk to your friends and neighbors. Just keep an eye out for everybody. Look out for everybody. Remind them that these people, these banks and stuff, if you do banking and you're at Wells Fargo, just go into Wells Fargo and talk to them and say, hey, I got these phone calls. Is there any record of anybody calling me telling me this information? They'll most likely say absolutely not. You're in that store. Fraudsters aren't buying out a whole banking building and putting fraudsters in a bank. So you've got to work harder. People aren't ripping your purse off your arm as much anymore. But just like you were taught when you were young to walk around and clutch your purse or keep your wallet in the front of your pocket or something like that, now you've got to do it with yourself. You've got to protect yourself. You've got to keep your mind up front, and focus on who these people calling you are, where these text messages are coming from. Just be smart about all this stuff and protect yourself and your money, especially when it comes down to huge sums of money. But even some of the BS about buying gift cards and all that, all those messages that come through that say the Florida Department of Motor Vehicles is going to suspend your driver's license if you don't send this money. Yeah, that's BS too. It's all BS. And if you have a question about it, sometimes I'll be honest with you, it gets annoying, but I'd rather talk to somebody on the phone when they call to say, hey, is this legit? And tell them, no, it's not legit, than deal with taking their report because they did fall for it and they did do it. So we don't mind doing that. So I've got 80 days or 90 days left. Let's go to the countdown. 80. Oof, man, chopped off 10 days real quick. 80 days left. So that's what we got. 80 days left of me talking about it in the first person and not in the Jerry Worms past tense. What did I used to do? So I'm gonna be joining you soon, Jerry. Jerry, I ran around to a bunch of beer stores in South Florida trying to find um, uh, the beer brand from Knoxville, Zool. I tried to find the peanut butter and jelly beer because they're selling it at Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios, and I've seen two friends now put on their Instagram stories this peanut butter and jelly beer, and I've had peanut butter and jelly beer. Funky Buddha used to make one called No Crust, and it's good, man. I love peanut butter and jelly, and so to have it in a beer is even better, or is just as good. So this brewery up in Knoxville near Jerry and Liz is called Zool, and they do a really cool artwork on the beer can and stuff like that. So they're, like I said, they're selling it in Orlando at Universal. So I looked on their website and they do have distribution, but who's to say how much they keep up on the distribution? So there's certain stores. So I ran to a bunch of these stores to like search and try and see if I could find it, and still couldn't find it. So womp womp. So I'll see what I can do wherever I travel. Maybe I can find it. If not, I'm advocating for a trip to Tennessee. Counterculture. There is in January, through the guy Chris and the Project K9 Hero, there's a fundraiser or like awards night or something like that they do in Nashville in January. And I was kind of like, dude, maybe Counterculture can do a table there or something. Because it's one of those like charity events. So you buy a table and you just, that's where you eat dinner and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, maybe we could do that. And then like on like the one night, and then the other night, like a Friday night, if it's Friday or Saturday transversed, swing over to Knoxville and do an event in Knoxville or something. So I don't know. That sounds a bit ambitious, but anything to get up and see Jerry and Liz and get some of that beer. I'm sitting here holding my cup and I still haven't drank. All right. So yeah. So that's that. I got to get some breakfast before I get the day moving on. Gotta work out at F45 and then quick change and get out to lunch with Rick Sessions. I don't know if you were on, Jerry. I don't know if you may have met him. I mean, he was definitely around. Rick Sessions, he worked with Lauderhill and then retired from Lauderhill, and I think in 2015, and went to BSO for like for a little while, another 10 years or something like that, as a detective. And then he taught in the academy. He taught the death and injury class at the police academy for in-service training. So he is good. It's a good episode. It's a good episode. He definitely dominated the reels with some of the stories that were happening. Yeah, you know the name. Well, you will hopefully know him more through the podcast that's going to drop on Tuesday morning. So check that out. So looking forward to the week ahead and my short week. Got all kinds of stuff going on. So staying busy. All right, everybody. Well, thank you very much for checking out the episode, and I'm going to end it here. Hope you all have a great Sunday morning and a great week ahead, and take care. Later.
Calling all units. Donut Shop has a fresh dozen. Go ahead and take a 1040.